me to chair ARPC board at this time is a great honour because it occurs during a time of significant and rapid change. I believe, as do my colleagues here today, that ARPC is strongly positioned to deliver on our purpose, which is to protect Australian communities with sustainable and effective reinsurance for terrorism and cyclone events. To enable that, we seek to build strong relationships with the insurers that do business in the cyclone-prone areas across Australia.
The insurance sector writ large is something where I think there's potential for us to serve you better with better information tailored to your needs, and so hopefully this can be part of a conversation towards that end. And then thirdly, we really want to hear feedback from people. We're a customer-driven organisation. If we're not producing things that are useful and usable to you in your daily jobs, we're not doing our job. So if you see things you like, we love to hear about that. If you see things you don't like, let us know. And there's absolutely the potential that we can tailor things better for you and your jobs to make your lives easier.
I want to talk about who pays for climate risk, and more specifically, I want to talk about the problem of adjusting the housing stock to new climate risk. The thing that carries over from that HELDA and household expenditure analysis is the qualitative shift in insurance coverage that we observed. And I don't want to go into the weeds too much here. Suffice it to say that the HELDA data confirmed that households aren't cutting their insurance altogether, but they're seriously downgrading their coverage. And we could control for assets, so it was fairly robust, an analysis. Downgraded insurance is downgraded coverage. It's more exclusion clauses, it's a lower sum insured. And I assume that insurers are seeing the same thing on their side, a broad shift towards cheaper policies as affordability pressures bite. What I'm getting at here is essentially more unintentional underinsurance.
But if we look at this particular chart, which describes and compares capacity and capability. So on the left-hand side, the actual capacity and capability of our existing systems, but as those events increase in their size and their intensity and start to spill over those jurisdictional arrangements, those borders that have relied so long on sharing resources between different states, what's the system that we need to build in the top right-hand corner of that? I'd suggest the inflection point there when I've got the little marker where the rules changed. They were the bushfires of 2019. The next piece across, Tropical Cyclone Yasi in 2011, where the actual capability of our system started to decline. It had been impacted so much, and we were drawing resources from not only interstate but also from overseas.
Let's start with where we are on the onboarding journey. So we think with all the large insurers now on board and some of the small insurers now on board, that the cyclone pool is almost at full exposure. Of our ultimate expected residential home exposure, we think we've got 97% of the exposure. We've got 2/3 of the SME book and 93% of the strata portfolio. Of the small insurers that are still to join, we're expecting them to join by the end of this calendar year, we think their portfolios are more skewed towards SME and strata, which is why we're expecting we've got a little bit more growth to go in those portfolios. Overall, we are expecting to cover about 3 million properties in the home residential book in cyclone-prone regions, 87,000 small businesses and 73,000 strata properties.
I can say that there's enormous momentum across government on the issue of disaster risk, and there's work happening all over the place on, we're helping on NEMA's leading a disaster risk profile, which is one of the slides, and we're sort of trying to help on our end in terms of the cyclone part of that. And we have talked a lot about data today, and ARPC has some very rich data, and thank you to insurers who provide that through the process of the cyclone pool. It is identified and aggregated, and we are going to be sharing that across government to be able to improve disaster risk management and to help with the development of government policy to improve our country.